Oh, welcome to Syntax. Today, we're going to be talking about skills. Can they pay your telephone bills? We're going to be talking about skills. All of these things in our repos that are just markdown files that the AI can use to go off and do stuff correctly. So Wes and I have each brought 4 skills to the table. These are skills that we really like to use in our setups, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what they are and why. We'll be linking to them so you can go ahead and install them if that's what you are down with. My name is Scott Tolinsky. I'm a developer from Denver, and with me as always is Wes Boss. What's up, Wes?
They got some skills. I'm excited to talk about this because it's crazy to see that the landscape has moved so quickly into this like markdown documents that describe capabilities for an agent. And then they got a cool name called skills, and everyone is like sharing them around, like I think there's a little bit of grifting going on where people just have these like magic documents of text.
Yeah. If you're paying for a skill, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever paid for a skill? I bet I could sell a skill.
I bet you could sell a lot of things. Yes. A skill,
yes.
My gosh.
So what? Yeah. We're gonna go through 3 or 4 each of our favorite skills, ones that we've written ourselves and ones that are existing that you can use as well.
Let's
ready to
do
get
it.
into it.
Oh, I'm ready, Wes. I brought my S stack and everything. So you tell me, you want to get your first skill out here?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna start with a skill that I've built myself, and I call this my hot tip skill. And I find that, and like maybe we should describe this, a skill is a way for you to extend the capability of an agent and describe how something should be done. And you will often have a project, or you'll have global skills, you'll have project local skills that describe how to specifically do something. And I find that a huge use case for my skills is actually just simply replacing what I call like NPM scripts or pipeline scripts, meaning that I often would have these scripts that would be very rigid and do things in a specific manner. And I would spend a lot of time working on these scripts, making them very rigid. And then something would change, something wouldn't be perfect, or I'd need to restart in the middle of this thing, and it would just be broken. So one thing is, whenever I post a little short form video to TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, I also put them on my website at wesboss.com/tips. And the process of turning that into a markdown document and listing the links, because I also like to list the links to each of the platforms on there so I can sort of have a home base for that tip and then say, like, this is where I've posted it in other places. Here's the stats on all of the likes and stuff across all the different social networks. So I used to have a very rigid NPM script that would collect them all. It would figure them all out, and I had to make sure that I had the exact URL or just the ID of the post copied, and then it would go off and fetch them all and then bring them into a single document and format them. And in this new case, I have what's called like a hot tip skill. And what that does is basically it just describes that whole process and workflow in a single markdown file. So what it does is, all right, here, when to use the skill. When a user asks to create a new tip or edit an existing one, tips are short form hot tips originally posted on social media. And then it goes through all the steps, like gather the content. Here is how to gather the content, right? There is a script in the website folder that you can run, or often it'll be like run this npx command, and that will go off and fetch the skill for you. Or often if I don't have the link to every social network, I will ask it to go grab the last, it will know to just go grab the last 5 posts from each network and try to match it up. Even if the text might not be exactly the same, an LLM is very good at looking at them and be like, oh, that's the same one. So I'll grab the URL for that, right? So gather the content, then it goes through, create the file. So I have this like kind of rigid markdown file that has front matter. It has different ways to format it all. So I have a structure of how that should be created, formatting all the front matter, finding the social media links, and then quickly writing some body content. I do have another skill, which is like write in my voice. And I have tried, and it always is awful.
Yeah.
I also don't think you should be programmatically generating a whole bunch of content for your blog, nobody wants to read that. Nobody cares about that. Nobody is feeling so blessed that they can read your programmatically generated slop. But I do have some tips in there of like if I just like will type a whole bunch of my random thoughts in there, post a whole bunch of links, and then say like format this as like a couple of paragraphs, I'll have a couple things in there that say like don't do, but the real thing here is, like all those like chat GPT things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. I hate that stuff because it's so you can sniff it out. Yeah.
Yes. That one's my favorite. I absolutely love having very flexible skills that can be picked up at any point in the process rather than a very rigid NPM script that will almost definitely break.
Yeah, I'm flexible with skills. One of my skills here is the CSS Motion Systems. I made this, and basically I was tired of AI not necessarily understanding how to use motion and CSS correctly. So the Motion Systems skill has basically a skill that gives some baseline rules, and then it also includes some references in here. So referencing things like how to use the linear function in CSS correctly, so that way you can get more spring style, really nice animations out of CSS instead of the default easing and BS or even like Bezier curve stuff it gives you. There's a motion review checklist. So like, does the motion explain the state change? It even like getting into the technical things, like does it need to use prefer reduce motion? Is it animating the properties that are performant to animate? Like we're not animating width or something like that, or background color. Or is it background color fine? I think background color might be fine.
I think so. I do it.
Yeah. Some of them they're not. It depends to a degree. But then it also, another thing I was like really annoyed with was like AI using view transitions incorrectly. So this explains view transitions and what I want to see out of view transitions. But not only that, transitioning only meaningfully shared elements, avoid transitions of things that shouldn't be transitioned and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Because one thing Opus loves to do is they just add a little hover on everything. Everything has a little hover scale up effect. And like, those are the types of things that make your website feel like shit and like look like the same crap everybody else is pumping out. So if you can actually use your brain for a few seconds and write some things that you find to make a good website, whether it's like animations, transitions, or just like design principles that you may have, right? Then you can go a long way making your stuff feel and look a lot better.
Yeah, I think that stuff needs to be tuned. So I tuned it to my sensibilities with my CSS Motion Systems.
Yeah. Next one I have here is the agent browser. This is probably one of the more popular skills out there, and it essentially describes how to use a programmatic headless browser to an agent. So I know a lot of these tools have built-in browsers, but if you are in a spot where you just need to simply fire up a headless browser that exists on your system, or if you want to communicate with an existing browser on your system. So if you want it to use like your existing Chrome, or if you want it to connect to your like Slack, because this agent browser will connect to any Electron application via the Chrome debugging protocol, and it can. I messaged Scott on it the other day, which was really funny. It can take screenshots. It can go into your Slack. It can do all kinds of kind of neat stuff. So the agent browser is. I use it all the time for debugging, for scraping. Firing up a browser and grabbing all the HTML for testing things out. Big fan of that one.
Yeah. Sick. I use Agent Browser as well, and I have that skill set up for myself. I use it all the time. Next one I have here is my HTML skill. HTML, bro, there are so many anti-patterns that AI loves to do with HTML, so I made my own skill that leaned into the things that I reference of agents doing poorly in HTML. Like, for instance, Use lists only when things are actually a list. Like, how many times is it a ULLI and then an article in there? Like, brother, that's what the article's for. You don't need a UL and LI around a bunch of articles. You just don't. So AI loves to add a lot of extraneous HTML. So just having like, here are my rules for adding this or that or whatever. Buttons are not links, those types of things. Bad div soup, clickable non-interactive elements, those types of things. And this one might be a little overcooked in terms of just how much text is in it. But you know what? I have so many annoyances with how agents tend to write HTML. So to have like an HTML skill that can clean up some of this, for me, that's something that I definitely like. Really need to lean on for it to write HTML. I'm not the type of person who's going to let a stupid agent write a bunch of HTML for me, and I'm just going to look at it and be like, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to say, no, this sucks. So, yeah.
You know what's one that drives me mad? This is probably more the use case for a linter than a skill, but every time you have a link that opens in a new like underscore blank, it adds the dang no opener, no referrer to the like rel.
Yeah.
And like that hasn't been necessary for like 5 or 6 years. It was a best practice previously because what would happen is if you open a link in a new tab, then the website that you open in the new tab would be able to, in some cases, know about the refer, like where did you come from, but also in some cases it would have access to like the parent document. And people are always like, that's a security issue, and like it's been fixed. The browsers have all been patched. You haven't needed that in a long, long time, and it still adds it every single time.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
That one.
Yeah,
I have one that I built called Extract Logos. And this is so often I find myself needing to put a logo for either a software project or for a company. I was doing a bunch of Remotion the other day, and then I needed to programmatically download the logos. I have I'm working on my uses.tech website. I needed to grab the logos for like LG and like all these different tech that people have, and it's annoying to have to find the logos in it. So I have all of these different resources, like there's a really good SVGL website, which has all the like tech
really good
logos. There's a couple of really good icon packs out there, which will have a bunch of logos in it. There's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 different ways that I will use to find good SVG logos. And I've just written those all into a single thing. How to search for them, how to download them, et cetera, et cetera. And now every time I want to say, get me a logo for something, then it can just go off and grab it rather than like put like a stupid, like I asked it for a YouTube logo the other day and it literally just gave me like the triangle Unicode character. I was like, that's not it at all. Give me the actual YouTube logo.
Oh man, yeah, that bugs me too. That's nice. I don't have this. I do use that SVGL, but I need logos all the time for stuff.
Yeah, I'll publish this one. This one's just in a couple projects that I have, but I'll publish it.
Sick. My next one is my Dex task. I use Dex for to-do tracking amongst agents, and this skill is really just what I like about Dex compared to something like Beads. Beads has like Git hooks and it does all this crazy stuff with the database and syncing that database. And what I like about Dex is it's just a JSON file and a CLI, and it's easy for this thing to use. So I have this Dex skill that basically just says, all right, here are all of the things you do in Dex. Here's how to get links, or here's how to get to tasks. Here's how to update them. Here's how to have one be a child of another one. Here's how to know what's next to work on, all that stuff. And this is the, I believe, the official Dex skill. But for me, using to-dos that aren't locked into the harness and that are written to an actual file is something that I really require when using any of this stuff, because that file can be committed, your team can use it, it's not ethereal. So for me, I like Dex, and I like this Dex skill to make sure that my agents are planning correctly and using tasks and to-dos.
Next one, I'm going to do like a general category, and that is the Remotion, and then recently another one released was called Hyperframes. It's from HeyGen. Essentially, these are two skills that will use underlying tech to programmatically make video, and that was really cool. So Remotion, we had Johnny on the podcast years ago talking about Remotion, which is essentially just like creating videos programmatically in React. And kind of a frustrating part of Remotion is that you have to type a lot, and it's way faster to just use an actual editor. But now when they rolled out the Remotion skill of like, here are the best practices, here's how to do audio, here's how to do video, here's how to do animation, here's some really good examples, then all of a sudden it became a lot easier to programmatically make video. And the Remotion skill and then the other one, the Hyperframe skill, are very good at basically just showing you how to technically do it. And I think a lot of people confuse these skills with like technically how to do it and some magic box that is going to make a beautiful, amazing motion designers are dead type of thing. That's not what these things are. And people just think that it's just they don't even like look at the text. It's just a magic box that makes the most beautiful things ever. These skills are not a replacement for having good taste or like actually, I hate when people say that. It's a meme now, but like
it's a meme,
they're not a replacement for like when we get into a lot of this design stuff. They can be for good practices that make good design, vertical rhythm, sizing, padding, do's and don'ts, common things. Those are really good. Some of the highest skills on skills.sh are Anthropic's front-end design and like best practices for design that will kick out like decent looking things, but it's not going to magically make something that is absolutely amazing. And then when you get a little bit further into like motion design, it has a couple templates of like flipping around and whatever, but it's not going to make something absolutely nuts that is actually good at the end of the day. So that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that like if you know what you want and you have like a bit of a design eye or you're just making some slide video, then these are fantastic to technically make videos very quickly.
Yeah, I find the technical stuff to be a much better use case for installing someone else's skill, because if it's technical, there's like but if it comes down to matters of taste, aesthetics, or whatever, if you install the good-looking website skill from skills.sh that has 10 million downloads and you run it, you're just getting the same stuff that everybody else is getting.
Same stuff that everybody else gets,
Yeah.
Which,
so it
looks good until you realize that
it's
everybody else
stuff.
has it.
Yeah.
And
it's Bootstrap. It's new Bootstrap is really what it is. The AI aesthetic is new Bootstrap. Yeah.
And it's like not actually like a good UX for a lot of the cases. Like the AI in many cases doesn't understand like what good usability is. It can just keep adding labels and drop downs to things. Yeah. How many labels can we stuff into this? Man, that label thing is rather just like it's like a political cartoon where everything is labeled. Like because you're. Have you ever seen any of those, Wes? There's like some Reddits that like point out bad political cartoons, and they're just like hacky stuff where everything is labeled individually. It's all just like, oh my God. You can't get your point across well, so you have to label everything. Your metaphors aren't good. Okay, enough of that. Next thing that I have here is a skill that I got from Corey Haynes. He has an entire repo full of these things called marketing skills, and there's a whole lot in here. When I see stuff like this, I'm like, this is great. I would want all this stuff, but I am cautious about just YOLO adding it all to my skills, because then you got all these skills to maintain or know what they do, or they might get doing something you don't want them to do. So I pick and choose what I want out of here, and the ones that I wanted to talk about are stuff that I'm bad at, which is copywriting. So there's a copywriting skill in this marketing skills bundle that I have found to be very nice. For me, my copywriting has never been something I'm good at. I'm not good at selling my stuff. So for me, things like
Specificity. I just genuinely failed saying it. Specificity over vagueness. And vague. Save time on your workflow. Specific. Cut your weekly reporting from 4 hours to 15 minutes. Like, these are things that I just straight up would not be good at. And I think when I had this run over a landing page I made, I found the results to be definitely much better than what I wrote myself. So, that said, I'm sure marketers would look at this and be like, "This sucks," But that's how this stuff is.
I can tell you right now, marketing skills may work for like a week, but as soon as somebody puts this, like as soon as people figure out that something works, like if this even works, then
works for what though?
It stops working.
It makes better text is what it does. Better English for me.
Yeah.
Better CTAs that aren't just like click here,
Oh yeah. I don't know. I feel really weird about AI, using AI to write stuff. And mostly because like people send me emails that are just like expanded with AI, and it's like or like fake. Like they're like, "Oh, I love your podcast about X, Y, and Z," and they'll mention something like in the middle of it, and it's just like it's not going to work. Like this is not working, and you're not going to be able to like marketing. You're not going to be able to have some machine that is amazing at marketing. You're either spamming people or you're just like doing the same stuff that absolutely everybody else does. Like if I see a business and the caption is clearly written with AI, like I immediately think worse of that business.
I think for me, Wes, what it's doing is it's not doing any marketing for me. English is not my strong suit, and it's taking those things and smoothing out the edges. Like this CTA is bad, but I'm not going to have it write paragraphs of emails or something like that.
Yeah,
like I can't. Yeah,
I don't know. I get it, but also this whole generating text with it to try to seem genuine. I don't know. I like not what you're doing, but I just feel
rip me to shreds. Do it. Yeah. Just blow me up here.
Not because I'm like on a high horse, simply because I know that it just will not work. If you're trying to like get something across, you have to hone that skill and you have to get better at it, And like maybe a better case would be like, help me extract everything out of me, like what are the pain points of this thing? What am I trying to solve here? What are these questions? And then it sort of extracted all this out of me.
Well, that was really interesting from that high horse that you're on. I'm surprised I could hear you. The horse is so giant.
Everybody is so fake these days. And I think that being genuine and like not having some little sneaky way to get around something is going to be the path forward. But no, I don't know. So I'm being mean to you, but I'm more at the whole industry in general. Because I think everybody's just creating a whole bunch of garbage, and nobody's paying attention to anything anymore because there's just so much stuff out there.
Yeah, I hear you. Yes. I hear you. I lament all of this. That's for sure.
That's your 4. I did my 4. I had the hot tips, agent browser, extract logos, and Remotion. I think the last thing I'll say is just if you ever are going back and forth in a chat with something and you end up with something how you like it, whether that is a process for how to tackle something or whether that is how to write your CSS in a specific way because you said, no, don't use this, use it in this way. Make sure you're always using rems or ems or whatever your preferences is. Stop and say, hey, like a lot of these skills are not written by hand by people. They're simply just say, hey, now take this chat and distill it down into a skill and it will create a skill file for you.
Yeah, I think actually Sentry has a really good skills writer. Sentry has speaking of Sentry, Sentry.io/syntax, sign up, get 2 months for free. Sentry actually has their skills published as well on their GitHub. I'll link those up. In fact, one of their skills that I found to be very good that I moved into mine was the skill writer skill. So I use their skill writer as well as their code simplifier skill because who knows code better than Sentry? So check it out at Sentry.io, and I'll link their skills up in this episode as well.
Sentry.io /syntax. PR
Sick.
writer. find a pull request writer. That's a good one.
See,
Because
Sentry's got you covered.
sometimes I distill mine into like, don't yap,
Yeah.
Like whenever
Yeah.
I have to say, can you write some documentation on this? Like it just goes off and just makes so much text. And it's like, no, keep it succinct, keep it terse, don't add a whole bunch of like 6,000 headings and whatnot. I feel like maybe that's my whole shtick here is there's just too much text, too much stuff in this world, Everything needs to be a bit more terse.
Yeah, I know. I have all my rules files telling you to like, yeah, keep it slim. Come on.
All right. We'll keep this podcast slim. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.